Okay, so Reiner Knizia, absolute legend of prolific and oft minimalistic game design, is having a great few years, with many of his most notable titles being revamped so that newcomers to the hobby can get access to them, and recent career highlights like El Dorado, the good doctor shows no sign of slowing down. Which, through his partnership with relatively new up-and-comer publisher Bitewing Games, we are getting two brand new Knizia releases, Cascadero, and the separate but related roll and write Cascadero, the former of which we're looking at today. Take your turn, place a dude. If dude is part of a pre-existing group and now connects that group to a city they didn't previously connect to, go up on that city's color track. That's pretty much it, the whole concept of Cascadero in one rambling sentence. Though it's the rich strategy surrounding how you levy that single placement that makes the title distinct. There are 5 city colors, 4 of which correspond to player colors, which, in a neat little twist that for some reason makes me giddy, gives affiliation to a board feature that everyone still has access to. Yes, you can go up any track you want, but to be considered for victory, which this is a game where you have to have the most points when the game end is triggered by way of someone hitting 50 points or running out of dudes. Well, to even be in contention, you must be all the way up on your own color track. You don't need to be first to top your track, and you don't need to be the only person who's at the top of your track. You just need to make sure that your own house is in order before you can even be considered for victory. It's just neat. Though going up any of the tracks is important since crossing certain thresholds gives you points, often more if you do it before anyone else on that track, but also bonus turns and bonus cube elevation, both of which if timed right can amount to some serious wombo combo sequences where you can do a thing that gets a thing that raises a thing so you can place another thing to get another thing. It's all very simple. But it's also very satisfyingly silly when you manage to pull it all off. And the most desirable bonus that can be found on the tracks comes in the form of seals of the great Cascadero himself, claimed by the first player to land exactly on their spot, which allows you to place your single dudes as a promoted captain, scoring cities without needing to be part of a pre-existing group, which might sound like it's not that big of a deal, but within the context of the game, it might as well be wielding the power of Zeus himself. See, if everything were so simple, Cascadero wouldn't be a cardboard snack worth chewing on, but as usual, Knizia has an abstract, slightly obtuse wrench to throw in your plans. Let's say you place your dude and that allows you to score a new city no one's ever been to. Great, you go up once on that color. Cool, but if another group is already connected to that city, boom, you go up twice on that color, meaning you're incentivized on the tracks to be earlier, but on the board to be late, and because of those precious seals, unlike other track bonuses, need you to land precisely on their spot, going up 1 or 2 or even 3 spaces at a time if you're connecting to a city with a herald token set out during setup, makes for quite the puzzle, which would still feel pretty narrow if not for claimable achievements that ice this strategic cake. Cascadero is completely new, but it bears more than just passing familiarity with 2 of my all-time favorite Knizia games. It has the immediacy and deceptive simplicity of Through the Desert, having a great eagerness for each of your turns that are just so small but have huge ramifications in everything that you do. And then on the other hand, it has the jockeying, positioning, and ultimately obstruction of something like Tigris and Euphrates, which, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best games of all time. And the complexity level of this amalgamation lands somewhere in between the two. Production-wise, Bitewing continues to knock it out of the park, both feeling pretty modern, but preserving an old-school, dare I say, nostalgic for when games just looked worse, except now actually able to do it with really good production aesthetic that I actually kind of dig. And there's a reverse side board and a couple of setup and gameplay variants for some variety, but in truth, the core game is just really great. If I had to bring some criticism to the table, well, I mean, the intricate combos that you can pull off can be pretty complex to thread the needle just right and wring out every possible point and advantage that you can, which can invite some AP. And the game length doesn't organically shape around the player count. More players, more turns, more time. No one is triggering the end game any faster in a higher player count. Well, for the most part. And the experience of playing with a luxurious expanse at 2 is very different than the crowded and more contentious 4, but every player count has proven to be fun. So yeah, I kinda love it. And it's hard to tell from a modern standpoint what's going to be able to withstand the test of time, especially with an illustrious career with so many bangers as Knizia has. But for me, Cascadero has all of the markings of another career highlight. And that's our review, but let me know, what is your favorite Knizia game? I think I've asked this question recently because there's been a resurgence of a whole lot of them, but what are some of the ones that kind of changed how you thought about game design and minimalism and what elegance in games are? Put it in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such a great community. You know that I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.